I raised kids while I was painting. I've taught classes forever. I've done demonstrations before large groups, and if they want to ask a question, I can paint and talk. Sometimes I don't know what the painting is going to look like when I get done, but that's okay. I'm very comfortable with that because I think that's part of the energy that might go into a painting. So I embrace all that. I really do. I do. I embrace teaching. I love it. I remember when I went to college, my grandpa said, "Are you going to be a teacher or a secretary?" Like, well, aren't there more choices? Well,
Right.
Not so many back then,
That's
maybe,
it,
but
right.
never thought I wanted to teach. But I love teaching, and I taught kids for many, many years.
Right.
And now I have classes of seniors whom I adore. We just have so much fun. I have 4 different classes that I teach, and for many of them, they've never done anything creative before, but they come into class and they find a different part of themselves. And I truly embrace the differences of each and every one of them. And so I have people that are a little more almost Grandma Layton, and people that are a little more specific, some that are more impressionistic. One I'm thinking of particular that has a very kind of modern, abstracted approach. So they all come from different places and are doing different things, which is what I want them to do. I want them to find their creative perspective and put it on canvas. And one of the best things about the teaching in the classes is at the end of class, we always put everybody's work up on the rail. We have a whiteboard and there's a rail there, and we do critiques. And I love doing critiques because you can, we talk about what we can do to improve a painting,
Right.
but we also talk about what's great about a painting.
Yeah.
And every single painting that's on that rail has such merit and value. And value is what art is about many times.
Yes.
So I love the teaching. It's super fun.
So Gayle, you have a beautiful piece of art right there in your hands. Let's talk about this one here.
Okay, this one is called Sunlit. And when I started this painting, what I knew that I wanted to do was something to showcase sunflowers. They are the state flower of Kansas, but they also are all across the United States and other places in the world. And so they're a great flower, and one of the reasons I love them is because they do follow the sun. That head will tilt depending if it's sunrise or
right.
sunset, and I
Yes.
find that really fascinating. I knew I wanted to do something with a red sky, so when I did my composition for this painting, it was a line. That was my entire composition to start. I do try very hard not to get that line in the middle of the canvas. I say that to my students all the time, and I'm really good about doing that, so then I
And the
have to
reason
adjust.
why you wouldn't want to is...
You don't want to cut it in half. You want to have one, either the top or the bottom, win a little bit.
Yeah.
So when I did this painting, I put down a dark red at the top, just with my brush, did a dark green down at the bottom, and then I just started on the sky. And I love, love, love doing palette knife skies because you don't know what you're going to get. I mean, I knew I wanted a sun in there. So I probably, thinking back, I probably did a little half circle there. So I went in with my palette knife and I start by mixing different shades of red with some additional colors, and I literally take the palette knife. If this is my canvas and this is my palette knife, I just go across the canvas. And I have a really, really light touch because I want it to be a hit and miss. And when you look really close, you can see how layers lay on top of each other, and they do hop, skip, and jump across there, which is just really fun. And then while it's still wet, I'll go in and maybe get a little bit of an orangier layer here. So again, I mix my palette knife, the paint with my palette knife, use a little palette gunk here and there, draw it across again. And then I do the same, pulling some yellows into it. And I kind of play, do I want a little bit of white in there because I know I'm going to put the sun in there. And then other than just at that point putting some white paint where the sun is, I'm finished with the sky for the time being. I then go in and I'm going to do the sunflowers. Well, of course, with distance, and we have a great sunflower field not far from where I live, so it was really fun to go there and make sure that what I was doing was what I was seeing.
Was what you were saying, yeah.
And of course, at the distance, you see that blanket of yellow, which is just so very, very gorgeous. And as you come forward, it gets to be a little bigger and bigger and bigger. And at the same time, you have to get that balance of green. So the greens towards the background here are a little bit lighter and a little bit cooler because that's how you create distance. And they get warmer and a little bolder as they move down. So I'll get the yellows and the greens here. I'll pull another layer with a palette knife across here, much like I did the sky. And then I'll go in and I'll start working on the sunflowers. So I usually do the big ones first. So I'll put my centers in, I'll put my petals in, I'll go back and highlight. And as I do these, I always have one that's central, that as far as focal point. And as I move back, they get smaller and smaller. And even back in here, there'll be little dots of the brownish tone that was in the center of the sunflowers through there.
Yeah.
And then I go in and I start playing in the green. There's all kinds of things you can do with the side of your palette knife, with the tip just so, I mean, you name it, you can do it with these. And then I'm going to go back and I'm going to work on my sun. I have come up with kind of a great secret for suns, not a secret, but it's a balance of white and yellow is how you get that glow.
Yeah.
And I always want it to look like it's truly glowing, that you can't look at it. But then you just start working with your highlights, and this is when I work with my value ranges. Do I need a little more dark up here or down here? And have those value ranges and those intensity levels like they need to be. So this is a painting which has just a very long, almost uninterrupted vista. And so you can do lots of fun things with the sky and then just kind of play with that.